Welcome to Turn to Your Doom, a choose your own adventure podcast where we explore the many paths, many ends, but choose your own adventure book. Today we're going to be reading Moon Quest by Anson Montgomery, and with me is that somebody that likes space art.
Hi, I like space. It's mostly because if I scream, no one can hear me, and also, I could just kind of like fuck off in one direction and never stop, unless something acts upon me.
It's true. You're not wrong. Yeah, we're going to be reading Moon Quest. This is a classic. It was written in 1996 originally, updated 2008 is the one I have. Yeah, it has 15 endings, so let's see how many we can get. Yeah. The year is 2053, and you're living in the moon. Your home lies underground, cut from the cold rock. You've lived your whole life on Luna, the moon's official name. Your parents were born on Earth, where humanity originated, but they joined an elite group of moon dwellers before you were born. Earthlings are stuck where they started. You are moving out to explore the universe. Each year, the colony in which you live, called the Tycho colony, grows larger. More and more people come to live here permanently. Most of the new arrivals are scientists, but many are just ordinary people doing ordinary jobs. With over 100,000 people living on Luna, the economy has expanded beyond that of mere research base. Also, the recently established Mars colony has created a boom in the manufacturing goods shipping business. The idea of declaring independence from Earth nations is growing quickly as the population. Oh god, is this going to turn into the moon as a harsh mistress?
Oh no.
Are we going to have like 5 wives?
I mean, at least.
That we share with other people?
Only if they want to be shared.
Yeah. A real thing in The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. The main character has like 5 wives, and he shares them all with his brothers. The Tycho colony is made up of tunneled rock and large clear glass domes. Most people live in the old tunnels, but a few have moved into one of the main commercial centers in Big Dome, which is capitalized. You don't understand why anyone would want to leave the tunnels. Underground seems to you like the natural place to live. Unlike your parents, you try to stay out of lunar politics. Both your parents are avid advocates for the Lunar Independence Party, the party trying to gain self-rule for the moon. Earthlings, they argue, have little understanding of the conditions on the moon. To further complicate matters, over 20 independent Earth nations claim dominion over various aspects of the colony. Often one nation wants one thing, and another wants the opposite. The moon colonies would not survive without trade with the mother planet. And of course, all your favorite television programs come from Earth. Even your parents like to watch Earth sports from time to time, especially if they get the chance to make fun of an Earthling burdened by gravity attempting to make a successful slam dunk at a basketball championship. Right now, you're not thinking of politics or sports. You have other worries on your mind. Not only do you have to finish studying for your final school exams, you must also wrap up an important project for one of your jobs. You suppose that people on Earth would consider going to school, working 2 jobs, and living in an artificially constructed and maintained environment a little odd, but it is the only life you have known. Tomorrow is June 21st, the first day of summer. You can hardly wait. Summer and winter are pretty much the same on the moon, but the Earthling tradition of summer vacation from school continues on Luna. Looking through the meter-thick, extra-durable blister glass at the landscape outside, it looks pretty much the same all the time. You know of snow and trees with changing leaves from books and old movies. Before the polar ice caps melted on Earth, one could always see some white on the blue planet. But when it's winter on Earth, you can see white from snowfalls in their northern hemisphere. Right now the sun is shining, but the only colors you see are black, white, and gray. There's no atmosphere to make the sky any other color than the black of outer space. And the sun burns and crackles with a life impossible to see from Earth. Since each lunar day lasts about 2 weeks, there will be another 10 days or so of sunlight where you live. What are you doing? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How quickly do you think you would get cabin fever
Um,
in that environment. 10 days of night.
of sunlight.
Like, I think I would go crazy. Of sunlight and then 10 days of night
I
or so.
I think I'd actually could be okay for a little while. Like I could probably go
I'm
through.
Not saying,
I could go through one cycle and then I'd probably lose it.
like, I think I would get the space crazies.
The space craze.
Probably within a month.
You would get you would get Pandorum.
Yeah, like that movie. Yeah, I would. I'd get Pandorum and I'd release all of the. It's a freaking. Yeah, we watched a movie called Pandorum, which is what the space crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the part where he released all the like cryotubes was actually like honestly the scariest part of that movie.
Yeah, it was the scariest spot. Yeah, for sure.
All right. What are you doing? A voice asks. Turning around, you see your good friend and constant reality checker, Tamil. Nothing really. I was just thinking how living on the moon makes us different. Well, snap out of it, dreamer, Tamil says with a smile. Don't you ever wonder about how your life might have been completely different, you ask? Sure I do, but not when I'm busy cramming for calculus finals, Tamil says. Some of us are just lowly mortals, not super brains who can study and daydream at the same time. Checking your wrist, you quickly glance at the watch that your earthling grandfather sent you. The antique gadget actually has hands. It's so fragile that an accidental bump could easily destroy it. But you like it anyways. Let's jet or we'll miss the exam and have to spend all summer making it up. Tamil sighs again without saying a word, reaches out and grabs the right-hand tow rope strung along the low ceiling of the passageway to the school. Suddenly he's halfway down the corridor. When the colony was first established, there were no tow ropes in the passageways, and owing to the moon's lower gravity, people often hit their heads on the ceilings. Dangling by your arms for a while does not strain you when you only weigh 12 kilos, or 26 pounds. Your mass is always 50 kilograms, both here and on Earth, but everything about 6 times heavier on the big planet. After 6 corridor switches and 4 level changes, you make it to school. You look at your watch again. You still have 3 minutes to spare. You deposit your backpack in your locker and head towards the testing booths. Each student takes his or her own individual booth and shuts the door. As soon as the doors close, the computer simulation begins. Although you know that the person across from you is only a computer-generated hologram, you still find yourself reacting as if he were real. Good morning, a warm, deep male voice begins, as the figure looks up from a stack of holographic books. The face nods up and down slightly as the voice speaks. It is a typical man's face, but the hologram gives its skin a slightly greenish tint. Please prepare yourself for today's exercise. We will be discussing and evaluating your progress on learning the theories developed by Sir Isaac Newton. 2 hours later, you feel like you've been interrogated by the secret police in a bad movie. At least now the ordeal is over. You think you did okay, but before you have time to settle down and collect yourself, you get your grade back. Congratulations! You have passed with a grade of 97%. You are eligible for highest honors and special placement in the Summer Scientific Corps. Let's go to the Ponics Park, Tamil says enthusiastically, and you meet him outside at the booth. I need to see some green after that stressor. Emma said she was going there after her exam. You agree that the hydroponics park is the place to go. Even though you love the moon and would not want to live anywhere else, sometimes you feel the need to get away from the artificiality of your man-made surroundings and the inhuman sterility of the moon's surface. The park is a large underground cavern where much of the Tycho colony's food and oxygen are produced. Rows and rows of tomatoes, beans, corn, zucchini, and countless other vegetables reach upward towards the bright artificial sunlight, burning in strips along the ceiling. The plants grow long and stringy in weak gravity on the moon, but they taste pretty much the same as the vegetables imported from Earth. In one section of the cavern, an artificial stream runs along the ground, and real trees reach up to the ceiling. Heavy vines hang from the canopy of trees, perfect for swinging from when the scientists and gardeners aren't looking. It's your favorite place to go when you need to relax. After you first brought Tamil here, he kept coming back, and now just to bug you, insists he discovered it. This is also the place where you both met Emma Burns, The three of you spend a long time in the Ponix Park. God damn, how long is this intro?
I know. I'm waiting for.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Okay, I wish we were just like, well, okay, cool. Where's the choices going?
This makes me think of The Expanse. If you don't know, The Expanse is a sci-fi novel. It's full of like political intrigue, drama, and stuff. It's like
Space Mormons.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are Space Mormons. I forgot about them. But there's like different factions. Like there's Earth, Mars, and then the Belts, which is like the Kuiper Belt. And people born in the Belt are like physiologically different from people born on like Earth or Mars, in that they have developed to zero gravity, so they're like a lot taller and a lot skinnier than people born on Earth, and they do not do well in gravity.
No.
And you see them use that to torture them at some point, and it's real fucked up. But yeah, them talking about like the plants growing really stringy and tall made me think of that, because that's exactly how people grow in zero gravity. The trees are tall and thin. Branches leap out from the trunk in a dance of brown and green. You've seen pictures of trees on Earth, and they look stumpy and short compared to these wonders of good soil and light gravity. Strict quarantine controls have succeeded in keeping most common diseases and pests from harming the vegetation. Even in this part of the biggest hydroponics facility on the moon, there are only about 100 trees, mostly maples, spruce, and birch. But that is enough for right now. I don't care if I ever meet a three-dimensional in-space that needs to have its volume discovered again, Tamil says, as he plunked down at the base of a green-tinged poplar. So come on, tell me, what was your grade, genius? I passed, you say as Tamil looks pleased, thinking her silence means he got the better grade. Before he can pressure you any farther, you're rescued by Emma's arrival. Hey guys, don't look so sad. Summer's here, she says as she plops down next to the two of you. Did you flunk your exams or something? What are you going to do for the summer? You ask your two friends, ignoring Emma's question. I don't know. I guess I'll help my dad carve out the tunnels for more workspace. And I'm supposed to help fix those solar collectors over the middle of the basin, Tamil replies. What about you? I'm not sure. My tour guide job has been pretty slow lately. No ships of tourists, and the geology lab hasn't told me yet if they want me to go on the exploration trip to the far side. The far side would be really cool, Emma says. When will you find out? Hopefully today.
I would like to find out when we're getting like a goddamn choice. Like, holy shit.
It's at the bottom of this page. We got a couple more paragraphs.
God, no, just like, we're going to the far side of the moon. Okay, cool. Why?
Tell me.
Why haven't?
Okay, yeah, we have a choice at the end of this page, and it's a big choice. Hopefully today, you say as you hear a loud beep from Tamil's restcom. Tamil punches his access code to retrieve the information. He reads the display for you a few seconds before turning to you. It's for you, he says with a dramatic sigh. I wish you would wear that beautiful Mark IV comm your dad gave you last year. It seems like the only transmission I get are for you. Enough of the pity party, and more info, Emma says, leaning back over the read display. Looking at the backlit display, you discovered that there are actually two messages for you. One is from the Geolab, asking if you would like to come on the exploration mission. The other is from your boss, Al Cho, telling you that a special diplomatic ship from Earth is scheduled to arrive this afternoon. He wants you to guide the bigwigs around for a few days. Both messages contain apologies to Tamil for the infotrusion, as well as pleas for immediate response. A moment ago, you had no idea what you were going to do this summer. Now you have to make a choice. You've never been to the far side, but it would also be exciting to show the diplomatic mission from Earth around. What should you do? If you decide to go on the mission to the far side of the moon, turn to the next page. If you want to act as a tour guide, turn to page 30.
What was the first one?
Go to the far side of the moon for your mission with the geology lab.
Okay, so why would I want to be a tour guide when the far side of the moon is there? You know what? I'm gonna go get some grade. I'm not gonna do a moon quest. I'm gonna do a moon job. Let's be a tour guide.
Okay, you could assassinate one of the bigwigs from Earth. Just saying.
Yeah, possible.
Okay. You decide to act as a tour guide for the diplomats from Earth. Often your tourists consist of large groups moving to the moon colony, mostly scientists and their families. These new inhabitants do not tip well, but at least they ask intelligent questions. The other two types are extremely wealthy or important people who tip well but make endless stupid comments. All in all, you prefer the scientists. What do you have for me, Al? You ask as you walk into your boss's office. Al looks worried, but manages a quick sigh and a smile. Everything seems slightly out of control in the normally calm workspace. Papers are strewn about. Holographic displays run into and disrupt one another. And you see a half-eaten remains of a sandwich hiding under Al's desk. I'm glad you're here, he says. When Riccardi canceled on me, I didn't know what I was going to do. You mean I was your second choice, you ask, trying to sound offended? Al looked up from his desk. Of course I wanted you, but I knew you had that geology job. Yeah, well, you were desperate, so I decided to help you out. In your time of need, you say. What's the big fuss about? Just 2 days ago, I found out that 7 members of the Planetary Council will be arriving here to inspect the facility and determine funding levels for the next decade. Wow. That's right, wow. So you can... That's right, wow. So as you can imagine, I've been spending all my time making sure everything goes smoothly while they are here. Your job is to entertain them and make sure that they appreciate the effort and cost that has gone into making this colony a success. A lot is riding on this visit. I'm honored that you want me to do the job, you say. But don't you think that all this extra effort should be rewarded with, a little extra pay, Mr. Cho?
I wonder if you get paid for doing more work.
Yeah.
I wonder if, I don't know, like maybe if I'm literally doing more work, maybe you should, I don't know.
Give me money.
Give me more money.
Yeah.
Give me money.
Al looks at you as if you just as if you had refused him an air bottle on the moon's surface. But finally a small smile breaks through. This is extortion. But I suppose I should admire a young person who knows when to take advantage of a situation.
It's not extortion. It's not.
Yeah.
It's getting paid to do more than you're supposed to. Okay, sorry.
It's called getting paid more for the extra duties you've given. He says, however, you will be rewarded with a raise only if you do an extraordinary job. If you don't, then both of us might be out of jobs. A worried frown appears on his face. This job is all the more important because of increased tensions lately in the Planetary Council. I want someone I can trust if things get strange. What do you mean, strange? Oh, who knows what these crazy Earthlings will do. Anyways, I have to get back to work. When do I meet them, you ask? 2 days from now at 12 in the main reception hall. Be prepared to show them anything they might want to see. You probably won't be doing any guiding that day. They will have just arrived from Earth, and they have to go through a long welcome ceremony, Al says with a sigh. Don't be late. Gotcha, boss, you say.
You could definitely take them to the sex pits. The pits where we all have sex because there's an aphrodisiac effects in the Earth.
Like in Mystery Flesh Pit.
Yeah, that's the thinking. Exactly. There are sex pits.
There are sex pits in Mystery Flesh Pit. It's like a huge draw to tourists to go there. People love going to the sex pit.
That's the main reason, actually, the big wigs are coming to there, because
they just want to all go. They want to repair the tension that has happened between them by going to the sex pit and just like fucking. Jeez. Gotcha, boss, you say as you leave. The assignment definitely is going to be more exciting than shuttling around a bunch of old billionaires, but you are more than a little nervous about the outcome of your mission. This is another long intro. Actually, no, it's not, because a couple of these pages are only like a paragraph long.
Uh-huh.
On the way home, you think about what you will do once the delegation arrives. Normally, all you have to do is show people around and make sure they don't do anything stupid. But this time, you have to really sell what you're showing. You decide to visit places in the colony you think are particularly special. as well as refresh your memory about more technological sites. By the time the ceremony of welcome begins, you have crisscrossed the colony many times. From the fusion and fission energy processing plants to the water reclamation facility to the rope flying dome, you have checked out everything that might be of interest. During the ceremony, which takes longer than you would have believed possible, you go through your mental checklist again and again. At the end, the superintendent of hospitality's speech, the assembled crowd breaks into thunderous applause. You didn't think much of the speech, but you started to clap just as loudly as everyone else once you realized that the ceremony is over. Looking at the stage, you try to figure out what the 7 representatives will be like. The 3 women and 4 men look perfectly ordinary except for their clothes, which might be practical on Earth, but make them look uncomfortable and out of place on Luna. Then again, maybe it's more than their clothes that makes them look uncomfortable and out of place. After the ceremony, Al introduces you to the delegates. They all seem relieved to find out they don't have to start their tour until the next morning. You would like to get started because there is so much to show, but you realize that the tour members will be more favorable in their judgments if they are well rested. I would also be like, I need a nap.
Yeah. Although, I need a nap a lot of the times, though, so.
I need an 8-hour nap. And then we could start the tour.
I need to sleep 8 hours. Yeah, I need to take a nap and wake up at a really odd time, scarf down a bunch of food and get a headache, shortly after, and be kind of in a bad mood.
You just show up at this kid's house at 3 a.m. They're like, we're ready.
It's I'm sorry, but I slipped through the alarm I set. It turns out it was not good enough. Also, I'm starting to get a migraine, so let's go.
Early the next morning, you meet the delegates and prepare to show them around the colony. Merely getting used to the tow ropes in the tunnels takes them close to a half an hour. You realize you will have to earn every cent of your pay. However, by the time you have shown the delegates around the hydroponics gardens and communal nursery, you get the feeling that they are enjoying themselves. And more importantly, are impressed by the efficiency and cleanliness of everything they see. All of this is most impressive, the delegate from Garania, an Earth country founded very recently, begins. But I would most like to see the fission plant that allows you to synthesize your chemicals. This is something you hadn't counted on. Although you are prepared to show them the power plant, you have never been to the experimental synthesizing facility yourself. Too dangerous to contemplate on Earth, where possible leaks could result in environmental damage. The synthesizing plant has a premier accomplishment of the colony. Because the plant is so important, it is off limits to all except a few trusted workers. Normally, you would simply tell the group that the plant is restricted, but you aren't sure if those restrictions apply to those planetary reviewers. Looking down at your wristwatch, you wish that you had worn your own personal comm unit. You move to the nearest wall phone and punch in the code to Al's office. When there is no answer, you realize you're on your own. Since your father works at the synthesizing plant, you know how to get there, and the credentials of the delegates should get you in past the guards, but you're not sure what the right thing to do. What if something happens to the delegates? The plant is off limits for safety reasons as well as security. Even small disturbances can upset the delicate synthesizing process. Can we go now, please? The man from Garania asked. If you agree to show the synthesis plant to the delegates, turn to page 50. If you tell the delegates that you're not sure if the plant is safe right now, and that you will take them to the surface of the moon instead, turn to page 62.
Let's try to get him killed. Let's go to the synthesis plant.
Oh no, something horrible happened.
Oh no. I'm about to make someone's stepson really rich.
Okay. Page 50. We will have to take the special tunnel tube to the synthesis plant, you explain, but you will not have to suit up for an outside expedition. Good, let's get moving. You don't have to look to see who said that. You quickly recognize the voice of the pushy Garanian delegate. Okay, you say, I'll get a locker at the end of the tunnel where you can put your bags until we get back. You hope that the guards won't ask to search the delegates if you have them put their belongings in the security lockers. You arrive at the tube station after thoroughly confusing your tour with the many twists and turns of the interconnecting tunnels. You feel uneasy as you look at the armed guards Standing by the portal, seated at the desk, is an even more imposing figure than the men, with the guns. If you didn't know better, you would think he was some kind of robot. Good morning, the man says. I'm afraid this area is off limits to all non-workers. You will have to leave now. This is going to be harder than you expected, but you try. I understand the ordinary restrictions you begin, but this is a special circumstance. These are delegates from the Planetary Council on a status report mission. Understanding the advances we have made in the field of synthesis is vital to their comprehending our society's industrial capabilities. I have had no word of this. If you want to call the colony's director and get his approval, go ahead. You say not knowing whether to hope he will call or not. Why don't I escort you on your tour? The guard says with a smile. No need to bother with the director. Well, that was easy, you think. In a moment, you are in the tube, speeding towards the plant. Somehow the man from Garania has managed to hold onto his pouch. You think about mentioning the pouch to the guard, but decide that going back to the station is not worth upsetting the delegates, as they, after all, hold the financial future of the colony in their hands. And the tube makes sudden turns without warning, and you're thankful that there are straps for both hands. I have to turn to page 120. Once inside the plant, you can tell the delegates are very impressed. The gleaming equipment looks mysterious and advanced, even though you aren't sure what it's for. The most impressive demonstration is the actual refining of the different chemicals and compounds that are produced. To extract various chemicals from one another, a row of high-powered lasers carefully excite the compounds and determine their composition. After the analysis, the twisted lumps of material are dropped into baths of various solutions. The resulting explosions are dramatic, and you're sure you're the only one who is thankful for the meter-thick glass shielding. Before we leave the facility, we will show you the banks of supercomputers responsible for calculating these very precise processes, says the guard. As you open the door to the computer labs, you see the delegate from Garania smile in triumph, reaching for his pouch. Reacting instantly, you charge him. Your momentum knocks him to the ground, and the pouch skitters across the floor. You rush to open the flap. A set of whirring numbers in a countdown to 0 flash before your vision. The last image you ever see before the white flash of the bomb's explosion is a small screen that reads 1 second. The end.
Okay, cool. I would have liked a little less build up to the end. Yeah, let's go to the other one, I guess.
Okay, so if we decide to go to the moon, because the plant is not safe.
Apparently someone just blows it the fuck up.
Yeah, damn. It's really not safe now. I'm sorry, but one of the procedures being done today at the plant is extremely delicate and possibly dangerous, you tell the delegates. Maybe tomorrow we can visit the plant. Right now, I would like to give you a tour of the true wonder of our colony, our view of Earth. You hope this will appease the group, but you see some of them are writing notes on their personal comm units. Getting everyone outfitted and prepped on the basic outdoor survival techniques takes longer than you planned, but you're finally ready. You decide to take the group out in one of the mid-range transports. Luxury is not one of the transport's attributes, but you find its ability to navigate over the roughest terrain truly impressive. Taking the transport a few kilometers out brings you to one of the small mountain projections on the plain of Tycho. The view there makes you feel closer to Earth than any other place on Luna, but even further away from the water and life that it created. The delegates move like bouncing balls with no guidance. As soon as you get them out of the airlock, you round them up and direct them to the transport. Riding to the mountain, which is nicknamed Trent's Peak after the colony's first director, you catch some of the delegates looking with disbelief at the piles of rocks you casually drive over. This is a rugged place, someone whispers over the radio broadcast channel. When you arrive at the Trent's Peak, you suspect that everyone has forgotten about the synthesis plant. Stopping the transport, you carefully lead the delegates across the plain to the jumbled boulders that make up the base of the mountain. After a short hike, you glimpse the glowing green and blue globe of Earth behind the obstructing rock, swirls of white shifting across the surface of movement to its serene beauty. The blazing sun falls on the distant globe, where the land masses of the Americas are clearly visible. Gasps of appreciation escape into the radio intercom. You let the delegates drink in the view for a few minutes. Just as you are about to begin your lecture on the usefulness of having a powerful observation facility, there is an explosion above you. A large chunk of rock hurls downwards. Chips of partially vaporized rock fly everywhere, and you yell at everyone to get down. Is everyone all right? You bark over the radio. What happened? Someone asks. That was a laser shot. Stay down. The next one might not miss. As if on cue, another shot hits the rock above you. More debris rains down. You know that you have to get out of there. Whoever is shooting at you can simply work away the rock above and bury you all. The transport is only a few hundred meters away, but to get there you have to cross the plain where there is no cover. Who could be shooting at you? You know there are political tensions surrounding the delegate's visit, but an attempted assassination? No time to think about it right now. You just want to make sure the shooters don't succeed in their mission. You know there is an access hatch on one of the mining tunnels a few kilometers along the ridge that culminates in Trent's Peak. The problem is you have no idea where your attackers are. In any case, you have to act quickly. If you make a break for the transport, turn to page 77. If you try to find the mining tunnel, turn to page 81.
I mean, it would be safer to get underground. Let's go underground.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I have the orange boy. He's being very sweet and cuddly. He has stinky breath, though. You decide to try and escape through the mining tunnels. The problem is how to make it there with gun-toting thugs trying to kill you. You crawl over to one of the suited-up figures huddled on the ground and press your helmet to theirs, telling them your plan. Conveying information this way takes only a little while, but it feels like a century to you. Each second passing increases the likelihood of somebody coming over the protective circle of rocks. Finally, you make a break for it. The main advantage you have is surprise. Even if the attackers know about the mining tunnels, you doubt they will look for you there. The transport is the biggest target, so it will be more heavily guarded. The mining tunnels are in the opposite direction. You feel extremely vulnerable as you crawl among the rocks. You have to lead the way. You hope everyone is following closely. Another laser blast hits the rocks, and more chips go flying. But it looks like the attackers are still aiming at the place where you are hiding. Sweat runs down your nose and forehead. The suit's cooling system is working overtime, but you can hardly tell the difference. After 10 minutes, you have gone about a half a kilometer. You notice that the shooting has stopped. As you look behind to check how everyone is doing, you see something that fills you with hope and fear at the same time. The rocks above where you were have fallen down. If they figure you're still up there, they'll assume that they have accomplished their task. You shiver at the thought. No one has ever tried to kill you before. Who is doing this, you wonder? The Lunatic Fringe, a radical group that's...
Why am I around?
Yeah, why am I into this? That's why the suit's cooling mechanism is working overtime, baby.
I'm getting a little too flustered about this, not in a scared way, but
you're just like, is anybody else turned on? And all the delegates are like, somebody's trying to kill us, and you're like, I know. The Lunatic Fringe, a radical group that sprang up almost as soon as the colony was settled, has long advocated a free Luna, but they have always been committed to peaceful change. Right now, you have to focus on your immediate goals. As soon as you make it to the ridge, which is about 200 meters away, you can start to move normally, and the entrance to the tunnel will be only a short distance further. You continue to pull yourself carefully along. The urge to look back is strong, but you have to ignore it. By the time you reach the ridge, you feel you are going to explode. Every nerve along your spine is just waiting for the burning...
Also, if you look back, you'll never be able to take... the shooter will never be able to leave the underworld. I don't care how much you love them. Just don't look back.
Damn. Alright. There we go. Every nerve along your spine is waiting for the burning impact of a laser beam, but you make it over the lip down the other side without anything happening. Now you have to wait for the others. One by one, the delegates come crawling over the ridge. The looks on their faces tell you that they are just as nervous as you are. Once they are all over, you motion for them to follow you again. This time, the going is much quicker, and you notice the delegates are not making the simple mistakes they were just a short while before. Fear and desperation is helping everyone really concentrate on what they're doing. In another 10 minutes or so, you see the huge stone megalith that marks the entrance to the mine tunnels. When you were younger, your parents used to take you here on family outings, and that is when you found the tunnels. The massive rock stands over the entrance like a frozen gray soldier. When you scramble down to the entrance, you are greeted by an unexpected development. A functioning, recently used airlock occupies the doorway. The last time you were here, the doorway was a simple hole leading deep into the heart of the moon. You wonder if you have discovered the home of your attackers. You signal everyone forward and motion them to follow you through the airlock. As you wait for the air pressure to equal that of the interior, you try to figure out just what this place is. Inside the tunnel is a room with 2 beds, chairs, a portable shower, a camp kitchenette. What appears to be an extremely powerful bomb lies on the table. You wait for the others to come in before doing anything. Just looking at the bomb makes you nervous. The fact that it's making quiet clicking sounds, like a metronome, hardly soothes your nerves. Tools lie around the table. You hope this indicates that the bomb is not finished. You realize the situation is even more serious than you feared. A lone attacker is one thing, but an organized attempt is another. All you were supposed to do was give delegates a tour of the colony, not get involved in some planetary plot. Most of the delegates have entered the room by now. You set off to explore the rest of your surroundings. Another airlock connects the apartment to the mining tunnels. By the time you get back to the entranceway, all the delegates are in the chamber. Most of them are staring at the bomb on the table. Well, we seem to have found the lair of our attacker, you say, as you take your helmet off. Now the question is, what do we do? What do you mean? Should we wait for the attacker to return and try to capture them, or try and get back to the colony through the mine tunnels? I'm no hero, says one of the delegates. I think we should let the proper authorities handle this. I agree, you say, but right now we're on our own. And unless we do something, or at least come up with a plan, all the authorities are going to be able to do is bury us. We see your point, another delegate finally says, but you're more familiar with this type of situation than we are. You make the decision, and we'll follow your instructions. If you decide to try and get back to the colony through the tunnels, turn to page 94. If you choose to wait for the attackers to return, turn to page 122.
Okay, I know that we have a bomb. Okay, so inventory, bomb. It's right there. Why don't we do a little bit of switcheroo and bomb them instead? No, we're gonna wait for the person, and we're gonna
Page 122. All right. I only have a vague idea of how the tunnels connect, you say. Let's try to catch the assassin off guard. We should be able to surprise him. Even if there's more than one person, each has to go through the airlock independently. You can see that after being shot at and almost buried, you aren't the only one who wants revenge. What should we do? The South American delegate asks. First, does anyone know anything about bombs? Your only answer is the shaking of 7 heads. You take a deep breath. Okay, then let's have 2 people guard the door while the rest of us get out of our no-pressure suits. We'll have greater mobility that way. You reach for a sheet from one of the cots and address 2 of the delegates. Here, take this bed sheet and be prepared to cover whoever comes through the airlock. If he can't see, he'll be at a disadvantage. He'll probably be carrying a laser rifle, but hopefully he'll be cautious about using it around the bomb. As you look around the room, you notice an emergency med kit for mining operations that contains a suit hypodermic. No-pressure suits on Luna are designed with a special seal under the helmet for hypodermic injections. Each med kit contains a general anesthetic. You hurry to make preparations. As soon as one of the attackers comes through the airlock, you say, and you 2 have blinded him, I'll inject him. Hopefully everything will be over quickly. You motion for someone to hold the syringe while you get out of your suit. Then you wait. More than an hour goes by. Finally, the in-use light on the airlock lights up. As soon as the door slides open, 2 delegates wrap a startled figure in the sheet. You rush forward, but as you do so, the blinded figure punches out randomly and cracks you in the head. Everything goes in slow motion. You watch the needles fly through the air. You know that this is the end. If the intruder can get that rifle going, he'll overpower 8 of you quickly. You see the delegate from Garania scramble for the syringe and rush to the sheet-covered figure. In one motion, he pushes the needle through the special seal. At first, nothing happens, but then the attacker stops fighting and collapses beside you. You try to cheer, but all you manage is a weak grunt. By the time the SOS you send out is answered, all you care about is getting home. I'll better give you a big bonus for this tour. The end.
I'm not liking this one.
There is a whole other side of this book.
I'm not liking it. Did I just choose the bad side? I thought I was going to go against expectations. You know, because sometimes you have to do the, no, I'm going to refuse the call adventure to get the call again, but, like, cooler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The things, like, it's like, are we done with this side of the book?
No, we have, if we take the other way, we have one more choice, and both of those have endings.
Okay, let's do the other one then.
Okay, so if we decide to try and navigate the tunnels to get back to the colony, I think we should try the tunnels, you say. Getting you to safety is of primary importance. Once we get to the colony, we can let security deal with the situation. You begin to gather up the tools on the table near the bomb. What are you doing? A delegate asks nervously. This may stop them from finishing the bomb, you answer. If we're going to leave, we should get going. 5 of you go down and get through the far airlock as quickly as you can. The rest of us will stay here and guard the door. As you wait for the others to go through the airlock leading to the mine tunnels, you finish collecting the tools spread along the table. Some are familiar. Others are completely alien to you. You shove them into a toolbox. Glancing at the 2 delegates guarding the door, you realize with a few well-placed obstructions, you can block the airlock in the open position. Airlocks will not work if one of the doors is kept from closing properly. Rapid depressurization is at least messy and at worst fatal. If you keep the assassins from getting in here, they will not be able to follow you or get the bomb. Taking chisels and a hammer, you notch the metal all along the edge of the doorway. Then, you and the 2 delegates jam as much furniture as possible in the doorway. Stepping back, you are pleased with your work. No one will be able to get through the airlock now. Damn, no!
No.
You just shoved 2 beds and, like, a table into the door after making sure it won't seal.
Yeah, that definitely does exactly what you wanted to.
Yeah.
It won't backfire at all.
No. Let's go, you tell the delegates. Taking the toolbox with you, you go down to the far airlock. Once through it, you put more notches into the door. Entering the tunnel, you wonder which way leads back to the colony. The beam of your helmet light pierces the darkness ahead of you. As you travel through the tunnels, you mark each turn with a small cross etched into the wall. No one speaks, but everyone watches you intently. You travel for hours, mostly in silence. You start to feel hungry, and you resist the urge to look at your watch. Each suit has enough air to last about 18 hours. How much farther do you think? Someone finally asks. Not much, you reply. But you know your answer isn't convincing. It's getting harder to breathe. When you look down at your air gauge, the level is lower than you had hoped. Trying not to think about it, you keep forging ahead through the tunnels. Just when you are ready to sit down and give up, you turn a corner and almost fall off the edge of a cliff. Your helmet light reveals a huge open space. The light is swallowed up before it reaches the other side. Looking down, you notice jagged rocks that eventually fade into black. You take an emergency flare from your pouch, ignite the enclosed chemicals, and launch it into the space. As you watch the flare fly down into the cavern, your hopes are ignited and quenched at the same time. You are in the main processing cavern. From here, you could easily make it to the colony's pressure tunnels, but you are over a kilometer above the floor, and the walls of the cliff are almost a straight vertical. You try to remain calm. This is the place we want to be, you tell the delegates. The only problem is we need to get down somehow. So what do we do? Asks the delegate. We can either try to climb down this cliff or go back to the tunnels and search for another route down. There's definitely is one, but I'm not sure how to get to it. If you decide to attempt to climb down, turn to page 119. If you decide to look for another route to the cavern floor through the tunnels, turn to page 121.
Let's do the first one.
I'm sorry, what?
Let's do the first one.
The first one? We'll try and climb down into the sex pit.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to try to climb down into the sex pit because that's what my job was.
Yeah. Does anyone here know how to rock climb, you ask? No? Well, neither do I. Since we don't have any rope, everyone will be on their own. Remember, a fall from this height in low gravity is not as bad on Earth, but it could still be fatal. Be careful. Taking a deep breath, you peer over the edge and prepare to work your way down. The going is slow, and many times you almost slip. But at least there are plenty of handholds. You start to get more confident. When you look up, the others seem to be doing all right. After 3 hours of slow progress, you are ready to scream. Your legs and arms are shaky and burning in pain, but you have to keep going. Looking down, you gauge that the floor of the cavern is about 2/3 closer. Your helmet light actually reaches it. That's when you look up and see a body flying down at you. Oh. The suited figure is twisting in the air, occasionally hitting the rock wall. Damn! As the person comes near you, reach out and try to grab onto an arm or leg. You miss and lose your grasp on the wall. You bounce the rest of the way to the floor. Incredibly, you don't think you're injured. You look over and see the person who fell. With relief, you see that the figure wiggles his arms and legs. Closing your eyes, you wait for the others to get down. Once they do, you will guide them back to the colony and turn these delegates over to someone else. You decide you've had enough of leading tours for the rest of your life. I like how you just fall the rest of the way down. Like you just eat shit in a mine shaft.
I mean, it's not the most unlikely place to eat shit.
It's true. Alright.
I would say it's pretty high up.
Yeah, honestly, you're on the moon with limited gravity, so maybe it's the best place to eat shit, honestly.
Maybe.
Alright, if we go the other way, if we decide to try and find a tunnel down. No sense in trying to make it down if we die in the process, you say. If we can't find another way to the bottom, we can always come back and make a try for it. Even though the others accept your decision, going back into the tunnels is one of the hardest things you've ever done. To be so close to freedom and yet know that death might be its price makes your task much harder. As you work your way backwards, you try to sense which direction will take you towards the floor, but every time you take a tunnel that seems to lead down, it backs around on itself and ends up going upward. You continue to make scratches on the walls as you turn, but before long you have no idea where you are. You find you're making scratches on the same walls in an infernal loop. Your breath is labored now, and not just from all the exercise you've gotten. All right, you announce, this is getting nowhere. Let's use the spare bottles to refresh ourselves and go back and try and climb down the cliff. There is no real response to your words, except the slow shuffling of feet as people turn around. Going back, you make better time as you retrace your steps, but the trail becomes suddenly unfamiliar. You scurry back and forth, but your path only seems more and more confusing. Your thoughts become muddled as your oxygen begins to run out. When the miners find you, it's too late. The end.
Well, why are they sending children?
I was about to make the same sound.
I'd much rather adults be finding me.
Yeah, damn. It's because they're small. They can crawl through the small caves. Kind of like how their tiny hands can unclog equipment.
You might want to be careful. Elon Musk might call you a pedophile if you try to save him.
Oh my god. I hate that man. I hate him so much. Anyways, that's the end of that side of the book. The other side has 2 branching paths. This one only had 1. Well, we had some deaths. We got exploded by a bomb. We didn't do there was a part where we could have chosen to go to the transport. But I think that would have been another ending.
Okay. Probably would have been, oh no, a bomb happened after
you get fucking
30 pages.
You get fucking shot. Probably.
A guy pops out, punches you in the face, and then shoots all the delegates. You couldn't do anything about it. I'm sorry.
And they're like, why is this child here? But yeah, so that's that side of the book. Yeah, that was kind of boring. The other side looks more interesting. I saw glimpses of it while I was figuring out where stuff went. Oh.
Well, let's explore that next time.
Yeah, next time we'll do that. But for now, this was Moon Quest, and this was Turn to Your Doom. And remember, kids, don't let anybody smuggle stuff into a top secret facility. If you see something, say something. All right, bye.
Oh, I disagree. Smuggle everything in the top secret facilities.
Good night, Mr. the Missile.